let's start with the Utah game. Jay, Utah, by the numbers that I use, has the best home court advantage ATS in the league. They have been phenomenal. Why do you like them in this spot? Taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah, well, you said it right there. This is the best ATS team in the league. So they're the third best against the spread team as a home underdog at 10-4, and they're also the best ATS home team as well at 17-6 against the spread. Now I know that they had a little bit of a dry spell there. They were red hot for a while, then they went on a long road trip, kind of dropped a few games. But this is a revenge spot. Last time they were at the house versus this Oklahoma City team, they did lose by 5. They kind of made some major second half adjustments in that one, made the game a little bit closer. The Thunder had 42 points in the paint in the first half, and the Jazz held them to 14 second half points in the paint. So I feel like they kind of tried to figure these guys out. And it's not only that, this is a face spot for the Oklahoma City Thunder here. Will be their 6th game in 9 days here. I know a bunch of those were at the house, but they're coming off a double overtime game. And one place that you don't probably want to go to is Utah, coming off a double overtime game. I know that they've had a day of rest, but the 6th game in 9 days, I do think it's going to start to catch up with this Oklahoma City team. I know that they're a young team and they're deep as well, but I feel like they might run out of gas in this one. I think the Jazz actually match up pretty well with them here. So probably going to wait until like an hour or two before the game. I'm pretty sure this spread will still be the same, just to make sure that there's no trades. I always want to let people know that around the trade deadline, you never know what's going to happen or who might get traded before your bet. So what I like to do is kind of just wait like maybe an hour before the game around this time, these next few days. But I will definitely be on the Utah Jazz plus a 3 here.
All right, I'm going to tell you on this. I'm with you. You sold me. Not only from the perspective of, you mentioned that they're a young team and they're tired. One of the things that OKC does, when OKC gets sloppy, they run and gun. When they are like refreshed and amped, they defend at an incredibly high level. When they get tired and when they get sloppy, they just run up and down the court. It's one of the reasons why in a lot of their losses they go over. Is like that's what their defense slips when they are not in the best of physical positions. You mentioned we talked about the home court. This number is crazy to me. The second best ATS margin at home this season is plus 5.6. The Jazz are plus 8.65. They are 3 points better in ATS margin at home than the opponent. And I was like, okay, while you were talking, I was like, all right, okay. But let's take a look at how they do versus teams over 500. Because it's one thing to beat up on like Chicago or whoever the at home, fine. So I was like, let's see how they do versus teams over 500 at the time of the matchup. Yeah, no, they're 7-2 ATS with a plus 12.5 ATS margin at home versus teams over 500. So yeah, I've only got this as about a point, but I'll put a half unit on this one as well. Watts, you got any thoughts on this one?
I was debating between the Jazz and the Nets for my best bet, and everything you guys are saying is just music to my ears. I'm definitely going to tail this one as well. Jay mentioned the youth of the Thunder and how that could be concerning, but they've hit a skid here. They're 1-4 ATS in the last 5. I don't see why that shouldn't continue, and I love it.
The market's finally catching up to them too, I think is part of this as well.